I know, I made you wait a week for the series I promised because my community and I got carried away the other night after the live with an epic brainstorming session about Disney-inspired scene ideas. So tune in today as I share these 12 epic scene ideas inspired by your favorite Disney movies that will work for your dynamic regardless if you have a little or not. Our first two scene ideas both come from different aspects of the movie Peter Pan. The first from the perspective of Tinkerbell, with the vibe of a Lolita-type nymphant with some apt cage play, spanking, and even some DDLG or MDLG elements if that fits your dynamic. The second option includes Captain Hook as our inspiration, with some pirate captive roleplay, knife play with that sharp hook, and this can even move into edge play or even fear play, depending on your comfort level. Mary Poppins is the next example, perfect for any type of caregiver little dynamic for obvious reasons, as Mary Poppins is the quintessential caregiver. But this can also expand into medical role play, even as lightly as administering cough medicine, all the way to a femdom scene as a strict disciplinarian. Now, the last time I watched Star Wars was in high school at my boyfriend's house, and I wasn't really doing much watching. So I really have no reference point for this next idea, but my community loved the idea of Han Solo and Princess Leia roleplay. Classic from Friends, right? This would be a great opportunity to get out as many sensory bondage elements as you can, like heavy metal cuffs and a collar, chains, etc. But you really can gauge this to your comfort level with anything from a bondage-centric scene to a prisoner rescuer roleplay, or even adding in more intense elements of ravishment or even CNC. Next, we pivot to the classic Toy Story for a little femdom fun as we turn to Bo Peep and Woody for inspiration. Now, this scene could be great for switch play as Bo Peep and Woody fight for power with Hurricane and his lasso. Does he have a lasso? Does Woody come with a lasso, or is that his female counterpart? Whatever his weapon is, they're fighting for power, okay? This would also be a great scene to incorporate bondage and caning, especially if you ditch the switch and create a femdom roleplay where Bo Peep herds Woody around like one of her cute little sheep. And if you're wanting to add in a little menage a trois, Jessie can join the fun in whatever structure works for your fantasies and your dynamic. Another great switch scene idea comes from Hercules, and I'm sure you can guess the two characters that would be perfect for it. Hercules and Megara. Think brat taming, edging and orgasm control or denial, breath play, choking, ravishment play, and even some apt spanking would be a perfect fit. Now, comment below if you learned you were kinky for the first time watching Aladdin and Jasmine and Jafar. Anyone else? These two characters are the natural inspiration for a sexy prisoner roleplay scene that can be tailored to the comfort level of you and your partner, with anything from the obvious cuffs and shackles and bondage and even suspension, all the way to some intense fear play and even some CNC role play. Now, let's look at The Little Mermaid for not one, but two great scene ideas. For a lesbian couple, channeling some Ursula and Ariel energy for a prisoner role play would create the perfect opportunity to incorporate some bondage, edge play, and even some fear play if you really want to maximize the intensity of the scene. For straight couples, Prince Eric and Ariel could make for a sweet and spicy rescuer role play, or simply a little bit of a caregiver little dynamic for a softer scene, as Ariel has to learn to walk on her own, rely on Eric, learn the ways of human life. You picking up what I'm throwing down? But if at any point Prince Eric is overwhelmed by Ariel's beauty, as they share such close proximity, this scene could always move into some ravishment territory. But let's direct our attention away from fear play and punishment scenes to some lovely inspiration for a femdom scene using Cinderella as our reference. Now, this could be the perfect opportunity for some sissy maid play, if that's your thing, and some domestic service as Cinderella with the evil stepmother as the strict femdom in the scene. Or shift the context a bit for an intimate femdom scene as the humble Prince Charming kneels before his queen to offer adoration and foot worship that glass slipper, right? But for even more femdom fun, let's turn to 101 Dalmatians as we emulate some Cruella de Vil vibes, draped in luscious fur and delicious heels to reward our fur fetishists and enjoy some foot and boot worship. This would also be a very easy transition into more intense play as a displeased Cruella administers some impact play and degradation. And finally, we look to Tarzan and Jane for our last Disney-inspired scene idea, using all of those jungle vines as inspiration for rope bondage and suspension play. Additionally, edge play, primal play, ravishment, and even CNC are natural options depending on your limits. You are dealing with a wild man in the jungle after all. So, my YouTube family, which of these scene ideas is your favorite? Or did you have a Disney-inspired scene idea of your own? Comment below and let me know. And I will see you next week for the surprise series I promised, all about seduction techniques from an unexpected source.